Hey friends, and welcome to Mom Talk Maryland. I'm your host, Claire Duarte, founder of the Columbia Mom, and this is your spot for real conversations, local love, and a whole lot of community. Whether you're folding laundry, running errands, or hiding in your car for some peace and quiet, let's dive in. All right, let's get this party started. All right, I feel like this podcast, this talk is actually super overdue. I've been wanting to do it for a while, but hashtag momming, hashtag adulting, hashtag businessing, or podcasting, I should say. Wanted to talk about my hair journey, which is kind of ironic because I was like, I just threw this together. I was like, this is like I don't really care, very half-assing it, but I've gotten so many questions about the different products I'm using. So I was like, okay, perfect. How about I kind of just like talk a little bit about my hair journey, what made me want to start it, how it's been going, what I've been doing, things I've learned along the way. I mean, the challenge is first of all, I am not a hair expert. I am not a hairstylist. And my hair type is definitely not going to be the same as probably yours. So the products that I've tried, again, might not be 100% for you because bunch of the stuff that I was reading is a lot of the products sometimes are trial and error. I had a lot of people messaging me some of the products that they use and well, this is kind of what I'm trying at the moment again. And I also think living in Maryland, we're also coming into crazy hot heat. And I'm I wonder if the products that I was using is going to change. I don't know. But anyway, so just to kind of note to be it's obviously such a personal journey that don't take this as prescriptive. Certainly I don't either. And some of the things that I was doing at the beginning, I quickly learned that, oh, you don't need to do all of that. And then some of the steps that I was doing, I realized, oh, that wasn't probably right for my hair type, my curl type. So yeah, just little things like that. But that way kind of doing this actually forces me to be okay, now I can put all the products in one place. And that way you can see them, you can reference them, you can click on the links, check them out, whatever, you know what I mean? All right, so let's go back a little bit. Ironically, I feel a lot of things in my life started for me when I came back from spring break. That that's when I started my elimination diet, and working on some of my health things. Right, when I came back from spring break, it was either that we drove home on a Sunday. Excuse me. And one of the days I had to shower and wash my hair was either Monday or Tuesday, something like that. And I was just I don't really feel like doing my hair. I don't remember if I had a full schedule or what. I mean, chances are it probably was. And I was, and a month or two before that, I had done my hair scrunchy. And I was you know what, why don't, something just kind of leaned in my head, it's kind of quick and easy to do that. And who cares, and I remember doing a poll around that. I was do you actually like this? Do you think it's okay? Or are you just being nice? What's the deal? And I was you know what? A little voice just said, just do it, just try it. And because it was at the time when I was also starting the elimination diet, and I was you know, what if I also, I mean, this is the woman in me, let's layer on something else. Because that's what we do. We just keep layering. And we can keep adding more things, more craziness to the chaos. And it's what if I tried being curly for a month? What if I leaned into that to see what it's like, And, so what's kind of just started on a whim, I decided to kind of try to really lean hard into it. And yeah, I definitely did it. And yeah, in a way I am pretty proud of myself. And honestly, for the most part, I've been sticking to it. I've done my hair straight twice, literally since Charleston. I came home from Charleston, literally end of April. So it's been 2 months, right? And I've only, like I said, worn my hair straight twice since then. I have crimped it a little bit, so if you want to be super legal about what heat products or heat tools I've used. I mean, I know some curly people will kind of, still do a curling iron or whatever. I haven't played around a lot with that yet. Granted, like I said, I'm only 2 months kind of into this as far as kind of this is outside of the 90s and not the 90s, the 2000s scrunch that I was doing at end of high school and college. Right. So let's get into it. So when I first started, I just started using kind of a ton of the products that I had because I was I didn't know any better. I definitely didn't have any gel. And I realized early on that the people were saying you don't need 8 products because I feel I was using all of these things. So I started reading up on the curly girl method and And I was watching some videos on TikTok and Instagram, and reading up on things anywhere where I could kind of like learn, like, okay, what's the right steps? And then, okay, so this is what you do on wash day. But I was like, okay, well, now it's not wash day. So what do I do, you know, like without? Because I think my very first week, my very first week of doing curly hair, I definitely hadn't like read up on the curly hair method. So I was still doing like dry shampoo and doing some more product down here. So it just felt like a lot was going on. I mean, it's still a lot, like generally is going on, but I was like, I don't know if I like this. I don't know if I like the way that this looks. I was kind of frustrated, and I definitely wanted to give up for sure, because I was like, this looks gross. I feel like I look cheap. I feel like I look like crusty. You know what I mean? And I definitely just could not get the balance right. And this is probably also why they say don't use a ton of products, right? I mean, what I will say is I feel like I can go longer without washing my hair when it's curly or wavy versus when it's straight. I feel like when I'm wearing it straight, I feel like I can go 2 to 3 days, but then I get I feel like it's nasty, and then I want to wash it again. So I feel like I can stretch it more to like 5 days or something when it's curly. Granted, we're not in the thick of summer yet, so we'll see. So leaning into the curly girl method. I feel like I have all these products over here, so I think I'm just going to jump in and start showing you. Okay. So again, products, like I said, are so personally specific, but here's something that I think everyone should have is just little Mr. Spray bottle, which this is so funny. I was like, oh, you mean the thing that the hairdressers use? Like, it's on Amazon. Anybody can get it. I was like, oh. Anyways, funny enough, I have like one on each floor for my daughter for her hair, because I'm like, oh, wait, why didn't I get this? So I mix, and for my daughter, I mix just like water and detangler, and then I just keep refilling it. So that way it's a little bit mix of both. So it's easy for the kids. But then I got one for me. This is just water, and I use this on refresh days. So before, I guess, I talk through refresh days, let me just walk through, I guess, what I would consider the full routine on hair wash days. Okay, so I have a couple products here. So, and it is important to do products in a certain sequence. And most things as it relates to like the curly girl method, this is where it also, your hair curl type is important, and also your outcome goal is important, because that will determine which steps you do in which order, or which products you use or not, kind of thing. So for me, I'm forgetting the curl type because it's like to be open. I don't remember anymore. I looked it up a while ago. I just know this kind of steps to go along with it. I have wavy hair with a little bit of the S shape, as you can like kind of see. But it's not like ringlets. And I've always known that I've had wavy hair. So this is just like me finally kind of leaning into it, or my hormones are just really at play and also influencing that as well. So, a lot of the steps were like, as soon as you get out of the hair, when your hair's soaking wet, that's when you start putting in the products. And yes, you absolutely can. And I still can do that with my hair type. For me, I realized after doing that for a while, I don't know if I loved that look on me. That's okay. You know what I mean? The majority of things say do it soaking wet, and you scrunch it and you flip your hair upside down and do all these things. And I still do all of that, but I do let it air dry a little bit, because I want a little bit of a softer look, because again, they're waves. I don't like it when it's like super like flat to my head. And I mean, there is an element of it drying that way, but again, I just wasn't like loving that look for me. And again, it's also about like knowing your hair type, knowing what the style outcome goal is, will help determine what you do and what I've been doing. So when I wash my hair, you don't have to. I like to leave in like a little leave-in conditioner. My hair salon is an Aveda salon, so I use primarily Aveda products because that's what they have and that's what they use. So that's just kind of like the majority of what I have on hand. So this one is the Aveda Botanical Repair Strengthening Leave-In Treatment, Plant Power Damage Repair. I'm like low on this one. I like this one a lot. So, I'll come out of the shower, brush my hair, And they say for curly hair, like, that's the only time you ever brush it. Brush my hair. And you can put in, I mean, and again, I think for like the leave-in conditioner, that's a little personal preference of like how much, you don't have to do like full coverage. Like, you can kind of do just the ends, or you can kind of go all over or trouble spots, but you don't need to like overly saturate your hair. I do have other types of like leave-in conditioners that are spray based. So I'll either use this one or the spray one. You can kind of do that. So after I do the leave-in conditioner is where I like to use a little foam. Again, this one is the Aveda Nutriplenish. It's styling treatment foam. What I like about this one, it's not too hard and crunchy. And even when I use this even when I'm doing my hair straight, because it's just like a nice, again, styling foam, and it just gives it nice body and structure without it being rigid. So it feels light but powerful. So this is where I'll do quite a few pumps of this and start to do kind of like the scrunching both side to side, do majority upside down, head to crown kind of thing. So leave-in conditioner, then mousse. Again, you don't have to do mousse. This is just a personal preference. So those are the kind of the starting lineup. Depending on the weather, weather has been wacky the last couple of weeks because we've had a lot of rain. Now we're moving into heat. I love this product. This is the Color Wow Dream Coat Supernatural Spray. I'm reading straight from the bottle. This is not an ad. This is not sponsored, any of it. It's the magically transformed texture, amazing humidity proofing powers. So definitely on like rainy days is when I like to kind of do like a spritz all over. Again, this is when you can go all over, just don't go heavy because it's not oil based, but like I feel like a little goes a long way, right? It's like one of those products because it feels heavier than a leave-in conditioner, because it is also like working to add shine but also protect your hair. So this is just an add-on as needed. Again, if you are more prone to frizzy or things in humid temperatures, this could be your best friend daily. Just know your hair type kind of thing. So Color Wow is usually when I'll do that. Let's see. Next, cream. Okay. So the real nuts and bolts, you can kind of get away with doing hair stuff and with literally like basically just two products, right? Curl cream and curl gel. That's kind of like, you can literally boil it down to just those two. There's a lot of people that argue that. There's a lot of people who argue all sides of it, really. It doesn't really matter. It's not really even an argument. It doesn't, because it just goes back to personal preferences. But you always do curl cream first before gel, and curl cream. And sometimes you might be perfectly fine doing just the curl cream. And that's what I've been experimenting with lately, is using less gel, because I don't know that I loved the gel casting. Again, I think I have more to play with that. Again, I don't have ringlet curls. But anyways, so after I've done, sorry, let me go back. It keeps running over. Leave-in conditioner, mousse, humidity as needed. Then this one you still can brush again, but now we're gonna use. Ooh, sorry y'all. Too many products. This is what happens. We are going to use a ton of curl cream. Like you can use like not a handful, but like I start with like a big dollop, right? And I'll probably do at least 2 of those, if not more, or something like that. And then this is where you start to like heavily scrunch, right? And some people actually even say like douse your hair, like, go all the way up to your roots and fully like make sure your whole hair is covered, right? Again, this is where I think know your hair type. I think the curlier your hair is, the more true that is, like the more tighter those curls. I feel like for me, less product directly around here is somewhat better, is where I tend to get a tad more oily and things like that. So you do a lot of the curl, cream going like this. Again, lots of upside down, like literally like flipping your head and like scrunching up. And I do scrunch, and I, even though I might not bring the product directly to my roots, I will scrunch and bring it like literally all the way in and doing, lots of that, lots of like this, but mainly like to the side, and while it's bent over and things like that. So once I feel kind of sufficient with the curl cream, you can leave it there. You can stop there. Or you can finish with a curl gel. And there's so many different types of gel. Again, both of these are not your mother's. This is Defining Curl Talk Cream, and this is Frizz Control Curl Talk Sculpting Gel. This one says firm, flexible hold number 3. So that's not too bad. The curl gel says made with rice curl complex, whatever that is. But yeah, you can finish with a gel, and the goal of the gel is to help lock in the style, lock in the curl, retain, some of the moisture, sealing those cuticles, sealing the hair, and to prevent frizz, things like that. And the biggest tip that I've learned, regardless of whether you end with gel or end with cream, whatever, once you have put all your products in, stop touching your hair. And because I feel like, my mistake the first, couple of weeks was that I would just kind of like, it sort of feels good. Like you kind of just keep like going like this, right? And stop touching your hair. You need to basically like let the products fully sit. And I feel like you kind of self-induce more of a frizziness the more you keep touching it, because you need to let the products just fully like take root, literally, and you want them to fully dry. You can, again, after doing the gel, you can go in and hit it with a diffuser. Again, there's multiple different ways of how people will use diffusers. Some people will take the diffuser and kind of literally go right on the hair, or even all the way up into the root, and kind of like, again, kind of going like this. I have seen a lot of people do this because they kind of want to help lift your roots actually and dry this area so it doesn't dry so kind of flat and stuck to your face. But then a lot of other people say that can cause frizziness because you kind of really are all getting up in there and you're kind of causing the hairs and the ends to potentially fray. So some people will literally just go or take the humidifier and ever so gently, maybe they're barely touching the hair, but kind of just go around so that they're kind of sending heat to the area to help seal it without coming into too heavy contact with the hair. So again, couple different schools of thought. Sometimes, again, it's trial and error. Could also be tool dependent. I have, it's an old generation, but it is a Dyson hair dryer with a diffuser attachment. It's not the latest model. It's like 5 years old or something like that. It is very powerful, which I do like. But the times that I've trialed it recently, I like using a diffuser. It feels good. And I feel like initially it looks good, but then it's still, the times that I've done it, I feel like it still looks a little frizzy later. So again, I don't know if that's just the combo of products I used that day, or was it because the diffuser is making, like kind of like that side product of like, it's going to get a little frizzy because of kind of sort of coming in contact with. Is it how I styled it? Was I going in with the diffuser? Was I going around? I haven't done enough trial and error, but I know that that's probably not my favorite way to style it, which is okay. Sometimes if you're in a pinch, like it's great to do that because that way you feel like you're not leaving the house with wet hair. At least it is dried and styled. So there is that benefit. Because I think sometimes when you have like curly wet hair and you're like, okay, like I know that I'm done. I know that I'm polished. I know that I'm put together, but my hair looks so wet. So it still just like gives a different persona to yourself. Right. And you're like, so again, pros and cons, it's so much of it goes back to personal choice and what you're going for that day. So that's a diffuser. So sorry, jumping back to gel. So like I said, I was mentioning that the point of the gel is to potentially like cast your hair. And those that are doing it straight from hair wash when your hair is literally soaking wet. And sorry, I didn't mention this before. If that is your route, they also say, do not put your hair in a towel because the towel will, is the goal. Like once you flip your hair up in a towel, it's taking some of the moisture out, the wetness. You want your hair basically still soaking wet, because you want your hair to fully attach you want your products to fully attach to the hair in that state. Because once you start to towel dry it, like even if you're not towel drying it, but it's like you throw up in the towel, it's going to start acting like a sponge immediately. So when I quickly realized that, so when I got out of the shower, like I had to change my shower routine. Like when I got out of the shower, I would start my face, my skincare, like lotioning my body, and I was like, oh, I have to like jump in and doing my hair right away, which felt very unnatural for me, and I didn't love it, but I was like, here we are, you know. So anyway, so then you would still walk through the same process and routine that I said, but you know, if you're ending with a gel curl, gel cream, gel curl gel, again, you can still use a lot of this, kind of like the curl cream. The goal is to cast as much, you know, around the hair, to really hold and seal it. Because sometimes they say if you don't use enough gel, it could still cause frizz. Using too much gel obviously won't. It's just going to be stiffer and harder. Now, if you're like me and you're like, I don't like the stiff, hard gel look, there are lots of other different types of products and some other gels and some other creams that can give you that strong hold without that hard, stiff gel look. But here's what I'm also going to say, without having trialed all of them, right? Is that you can break the gel cast. And this is what they say. So it's like, but don't touch your hair until it is fully dried. And you can still, even with doing gel, you could still diffuse it. Again, you can do the one or two options of whether you actually go in with the diffuser, or you kind of go around. But for me lately, I primarily let it air dry. So once I learned that I shouldn't touch it, wouldn't touch it. I'd be wanting to, but I wouldn't. And then once, you know, take a couple hours, or once it would like fully dry, that's when I would let my hands come back in. You can either do it with your hands, or they say you can take an old t-shirt or a towel. That way you feel like you're not getting any residue or dirtiness on your hands straight to your hair. So I've just done my hands, to be honest. But in a perfect world, right? So then you would just take your hands the same way and just kind of gently try to break it up, let it be a little looser. That way you feel like you don't have that, like, you know, very hard, crunchy look to your hair. And like, that's my favorite part. I'm like, oh, I can finally, you know, let it loose, right? And for some women, that's when they've achieved like peak curly status, and you see those beautiful ringlets like really come to life because they're finally kind of like breaking free out of their cocoon. So, and that's what helps them achieve that beautiful curly look without the frizz. That's the ultimate goal, right? We don't mind the curly hair. We don't mind it being wavy. We hate the frizz. We hate the stuff that comes along with it, right? And I say that being like, I totally half-assed this today, and I was like, I don't really care. I don't feel like putting a whole lot of effort into it. But it's also refresh day. So like I said, all I did was just use a little bit of water, a little bit of the leave-in product, and a little bit of curl gel. Honestly, I didn't feel like doing much more than that. And the reality is, like, to each their own, right? You can do as much or as little as you want. Like, who cares, right? You know, I think for a while I was trying to be like prescriptive in the sense of like, okay, I want to follow the steps. I want to like see how this looks, see how this works, make sure I'm kind of like quote unquote doing the right things. I mean, reality is there is like no real right or wrong. That's okay. But I mean, what's been interesting for me, I feel like with this journey, is that it's forced me to try different hairstyles and see myself in a different way. Like obviously every time I look in the mirror or look in the camera, I'm like, I'm not used to seeing myself with this like texture hair. I've just always had and always styled my hair straight primarily, other than when I like curl it, you know? Again, I've always seen like in the back of my hair that I get those like little like ridges, and I was like, I definitely know it's wavy because my hair will absolutely hold a curl. And if I air dry it, it definitely doesn't dry like this. I do have to put product in to kind of really get it to like come out like this, which is why, again, like it'll dry straight, but a much looser wave, right? So I'm scrunching it to kind of help give it more wave fluence, if you may. So that's for a while. And so that was one of the other things, like when I started all this, I was like, I kind of feel like a little bit of an imposter here because I feel like I'm trying too hard for this. And it's interesting because I feel like you see these different schools of thoughts of like, I don't know if you're familiar with the runner community, but people like, you know, if you like can put sneakers on, like, and you can run, like you're a runner. You know, and you know, that's meant to be implied that anybody is a runner if you want to be, and if you want to go out and do it, right? And doesn't matter your pace, like, you know, you don't need to be a certain speed to be a runner, right? And I think the same thing kind of applies with like the curly hair, like curly hair, wavy hair, whatever. You know, there's no right or wrong. There's no like, oh, you're only curly if your hair naturally looks like this when you walk out of the shower. Then I've seen the other side of the spectrum. I swear there was like a commercial for some product and the girl had like probably like one tiny little kink in her hair. And like, wait, like the girl, her friend said to her, hey, like you have wavy hair, like you have this one thing. And I'm like, that felt a little bit of a stretch, but like, again, I'll allow it. Again, I'm not the hair police and I genuinely don't care. Like you can do your hair however you want. That's fine. Same goes for me. So like, I mean, ironically, I know I made a post a few weeks ago. It was like, I celebrated 4 weeks of curly hair by dot 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 going straight. I was getting the itch because we went out to our staycation and I was like, we were going to go out to dinner and I was like, I'm really itching because I hadn't seen my hair like straight in a while. And you know what I did? And I felt glorious. It felt glorious. My hair felt so good. And you know, like what was really nice about that is because I could tell my hair had really grown in like in about a month. Yeah, my hair had really grown and it did feel really good because I hadn't put heat on it like in a long time. Not that I definitely don't use heat every day and I definitely didn't do heat every day, even when I was wearing it straight. But it definitely felt very healthy and felt very good, very full, very thick. And I was like, yeah, that's what's up, you know? So in a way, I feel like that kind of helped reinforce like, all right, let's keep doing this because for if and when I do decide to, you know, do it straight again, like it's good to have the time off kind of thing. And let's see, I did wear it straight again this past week, ironically, because I had a workshop. And so I was like, I kind of want to be straight for that. Ironically, we had like crazy rain and storms and I should have gone curly. I just didn't want to be because I was recording it and I was like, what would I like to see myself from recording with curly hair, straight hair? I say that now, like I'm obviously sitting here on the podcast with curly hair. But I also didn't care today. I was like, whatever. So it's, you know, like I said, it's just a journey. It's it's an ever evolving journey. And for me, I'm still kind of like, this doesn't mean that like, oh, all of a sudden now I have to be curly every single day for the rest of my life. Like I like that I challenge myself to do it for a month. And I like that now that I'm on the other side, I feel like I've learned a lot. And I've also learned to embrace and accept myself in a different way, which I think is kind of neat, kind of cool. Like I wasn't doing it for that reason. And there was plenty of days when I would look in the mirror and be like, oh, I hate this. I hate what I see. I'm so tired of it. I'm like, ugh, I just want like, you know, I just want my straight hair. I just want to like look and see that, right? You know, because it does, like, I think for many women, like black or white or brown or whatever, you know, I think so much of our self-identity and confidence is tied to our hair. And I absolutely know that for sure. And, you know, so that's where I think a lot of that discomfort comes from. And yeah, so now that we're like in the thick of the heat of summer, I'm like, okay, I think I'm definitely gonna do this more because it's like, it's easier, first of all. And, you know, is it worth me doing my hair straight when it's going to be so hot outside and I'm probably going to throw my hair up anyways? So I'm interested to see if I'll play around with more different hairstyles. Like I said, I felt like it was cute and kind of cool to see my, like, you know, I'd like clip my hair up in different ways and it would, you know, having the texture kind of gave me more ability to like do different things and have it look a different way. So like there was times when I feel like I could like have like a little like front piece here and I'm like, oh, that looks so cute. And I couldn't do that with straight. I could. It just felt like my hair was like thinner or not exactly oily, but just it wouldn't stay, but the curly would. And I'm like, all right. So, like I said, I don't know what's yet to come. But that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I think it's just like the perfect life lesson too of not everything is finite. Not everything has to be black and white one way or the other. Like let's enjoy let's enjoy you can have curly hair and straight hair. You know, you can have, I don't have another good example, but I do think that whole point of like, you know, living in the like, I feel like I do struggle with that with many things in my life. So that's what I feel like this personal self experiment almost was for me. It's like, let me force myself to see if I can do this, see what it's like. And, you know, like I said, I found myself on Pinterest a lot. I found myself on TikTok a lot, even on chat. And I was like, can you help me make sense of this? Blah, 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 blah. And then I was like, wait, chat, you're wrong. And I needed to fact check Curly Girl method. You know what I mean? It was a lot of back and forth. But yeah, here's to living in the and. Here's to, you know, curly hair, wavy hair, straight hair, natural hair, whatever hair you do have, whatever products you do use. Let me know if you found this helpful, or if you want to hear more stuff like this, whether it's, you know, hair or skincare or makeup or I don't know. I'm always looking for topics that you might be interested in as it relates to my personal experience or things that I can talk on. Again, this was in no way sponsored by these products. Actually, sorry, before I finally wrap, I forgot I had one other thing hiding back here. My hair, when I got my hair cut, which I kind of thought was neat, and I've done this a little bit. This is like, I don't know what you call it. Pick comb? This is how freaking white I am. A pick comb, a pick. Oh my God, I sound so stupid. Okay. So once she did it, right, and I've seen other creators sort of do this. You can kind of like put it in your hair and almost like pick it up. You can kind of like leave it there. Wait, I have to see this. So the idea is that it's trying to give you kind of volume, and you can kind of leave it there as your hair is drying to set. And again, the goal is trying to like lift the roots, or you could do this to like keep kind of lifting the roots like that. That way you feel like everything doesn't dry like straight on your head, straight on your scalp. So again, it's multifaceted, but I love that I got a little bit more of a bump right there. That made me happy. Oh my gosh. So anyway, sorry, that was just my other like little tool product for you. So anyways, any other topic recommendations that you have, if you found this helpful or interesting, let me know. But we will also be in our show notes. We'll definitely be in show notes /blog, be linking all the products here for you to check out. And yeah, so I guess if you have a curly girlfriend, give her a hug and let her know that you got beautiful hair no matter which way it is. And for the girls that maybe straighten their hair or trying to hide their curly hair, the reality is, like, I don't have a perfect message for you because I know that I haven't walked that life. And I know that that's a very multifaceted thing. So, you know, I feel like I was about to say, like, you know, let your curl free. And I was like, I feel like that's almost not my thing, my phrase to be able to say, because again, I feel like it's not the life that I've lived. But I feel like I can say, here's to embracing your natural hair, however it may be. And if you do have curly hair, but you love styling it a certain way, so be it. Who cares? Who cares? Make yourself happy. You know what I mean? Surely there's obviously something nice to leaning into your natural hair, so we're not putting, say, as many products in it or as much heat damage, et cetera, et cetera. But again, sometimes one way or the other is harder. You know what I mean? Like, I had someone tell me that, like, they were like, oh, I just straighten my hair because it's so much easier. Like, doing curly, like, all the products and the steps and the method was just, it was just so much easier to maintain it straight. And I was like, you know what? That makes so much sense. Also, my problem is I can see things any which way. And this is why I struggle with making decisions. So anyways, here's to hair. Here's to loving your hair. Here's to loving yourself. And I'll catch you next time. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Mom Talk Maryland. If you loved it, leave a review, share it with a friend, or tag me at the.columbiamom on Instagram. I'd love to hear what you think. And don't forget to follow the show so you never miss an episode. Until next time, keep showing up, keep supporting local, and keep being the incredible mom, woman, human that you are.